אלעד, אני שם קאונטדאון סקרין. אלעד, אני שם קאונטדאון סקרין, תגיע. אלעד! לא, זה רץ לעשות. אוקיי, 23 שנייה.
חמודים בהצלחה, נראה לי שאני אלך, כי אפילו שי לא פה.
כן, יכולה ללכת.
תעשו חיים, יש לך פה סודה.
לא, זה גם כמובן.
אוקיי. Welcome to the Wingly update. It's our 24th show. We were muted, by the way, Elad. So this is Elad next to me. How are you doing, Elad?
I'm good.
Matching shirts. It looks like we're sitting on the same sofa. It's crazy. So Elad, tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you doing here?
I'm working in Winglang.
Okay.
Working on Winglang. Doing stuff for Wing and Winglang. And we're talking today. We're going to talk about Wing libs.
Right.
Wing libraries.
Right. So Elad, we used to work together at the previous company that was we were working together for how long? 7 years?
Yeah, I joined Rollout in 2016.
Yeah, so you joined the company that I co-founded, and we worked together for a long time. And then the other company, the company that acquired us, Cloudus, we worked there. And I was super excited to have you join the Wing, and I'm glad you're here. And today in the show, we're going to have 3 subjects. The first one is creating a FIFO-Q, which is something that we actually did a couple of days ago. So let's do this on the Wingly. And then we're going to have Mark to join us for the changelog. And then we're going to have Revital for a good first issue. And that's going to be the show. So I hope you enjoy. Send messages and talk to us. So FIFO-Q, Elad. First of all, so the cloud queue that we're using is not FIFO. That's the first thing that needs to point out. And it turns out that it's easy to create distributed queues that are not FIFO, and it's cheap. But creating FIFO queues that actually maintain first in, first out, it's not as cheap. So there's 2 options, right? That's basically how I kind of understand this thing. It's if it was cheap, I mean cheap in terms of performance, in terms of infrastructure and engineering and architecture, and then in terms of price. And messages, interesting. And then we have the cloud queue, which is not FIFO. And you need a FIFO queue. Why do you need a FIFO queue, Elad?
We want to, we are building Winglang, and Winglang, we have a concept of environments. Environments basically represents like you can think about it about a specific commit that you want to a Wing app with a specific commit that you want to run.
Okay.
And we run it for you.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that we want to kind of we want to manage it like in isolation, right? You can't have commits are coming, right? You have bunch of operations you need to do on the environments. You want to
Right.
create environments. You want to restart it. You have a different commit. You open NPR, close NPR,
Got it.
and we want to. We got to have order, right? It's not sufficient the order, but it's a requirement.
Yeah, so you need to have both order of events coming. You want the user commits to the code, then it does another commit, and then it's closed the PR. You don't want the same system that actually handles the closing of the PR to run at the same time that the commit, because closing a PR will turn the preview environment off, and a commit will create a new preview environment. So if you put this in order, you say, give me a commit, I'll do the work, and then a commit, and then in the end, I'm gonna react to the closing the PR.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we want this kind of serialization, but we also want other stuff to happen in parallel, right? If stuff that are coming from different branches or different repos, there's no problem that will happen in the same time.
Right, and we're sitting next to each other in the office, and I came back from a meeting, and you asked me, I need a kind of priority queue. Should I add this to the existing cloud queue abstraction? Immediately I said no. It's a mess. I don't understand. What would it break? It feels like a lot of work of understanding the right abstraction. And we also talked about there's a difference in the push API, for example, because you give it a group ID. In this example, the repo, in the example that you basically just said, or the branch.
Yeah.
The branch. And I said, let's create this in Winglang. And for those of you not familiar with Winglang, it's a repo that allows other people, everyone in the community, to add Wing source code for models, for libraries. Then you can basically kind of npm install it. And that's what you're going to show us. Let's implement the FIFO queue in Winglang. Let me put up your screen. Have you shared your screen?
No.
Okay, that's important. That's important.
Okay, I'm doing it. Okay, my God, I'm going to
click
restart it.
Let's see.
Okay.
Share the entire screen. Yeah, awesome. And now let's put this on stage. No, this is okay. Let's do like this. Sorry. Let's get rid of the this thing. Great.
Okay.
So
we have this Winglibs repo, right?
Can you get the font a little bit bigger? A little bit bigger.
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah, that's better. Awesome.
Okay, so we have this Winglibs repo. So as you said, anyone can add like a class, a resource, something that represents a cloud resource needs to run in the cloud. Right.
So we have containers, checks, Bedrock, which is and we have Postgres. Awesome.
WebSockets, right.
And
the nice thing about this repo is that we kind of take care of the release process for you, and you don't have to have an npm account and
authoring and publishing this entire kind of flow, and you don't even have to have an npm account. Awesome. Right. There's also another value when you do when you use them, you can do just bring checks or bring Postgres, and you don't have to do as. That's another value that Winglang give you. Awesome.
Right. So we even have like a shell script that kind of builds the skeleton of your new library for you. So I think you just need to do something like make lib, right?
Yep.
And then the name of the lib, and we're gonna call it WinQ.
FIFO-Q,
FIFO-Q.
Awesome.
And that created a bunch of stuff for us.
Right.
We have new GitHub workflows that gonna, when we open a pull request, it's gonna Wing test for us and Wing back, and then on release, it's gonna actually release it for npm.
Yep. Right.
And
interesting.
Then it created like this folder with libw and libtestw, which is basically everything we need.
And the package JSON.
And the package JSON, which, by the way, shouldn't it say the Wing or something?
Well,
I don't know.
The version of Wing?
No, like every package is a Wing package.
So I think that's the Winglibs.
Or if it's coming from Winglang.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay, so we have in the slib file we have class we're gonna remove.
Awesome.
And let's start with creating the interface of our for queue.
Awesome.
So you can let's do a pub interface FIFA queue, and we're gonna have that's the most basic stuff, right? We're gonna have pushing and
Push the send consumer, right?
Yeah.
We need the send consumer function and push function.
So let's do the push thing. Push.
The height is killing you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a push and it's an in-flight function, right? It's an
in-flight
function. Yeah.
So yeah, basically the basic queue is the message, right? The one in WinCloud.
Right.
But like we said, we want to have this kind of grouping thing.
Right.
This in our case environments or branch.
Right.
That we kind of the order is in between this group, and everything else is parallel.
Right. So I push a message with an ID, with a group ID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
are you going to implement this with
okay. Let's do like a props thing.
Okay. Awesome. So the value for having, while you're writing this, I'm going to talk. The value for having kind of creating a struct push props here is basically that because we just don't have one option right now. So basically the way to use the push is with a named argument. So it's gonna, when I'm gonna use push, I'm gonna just send a message, and then it's gonna be group ID column the key, so it's more readable. So that's why you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to do it when you only have one function. And the last one is a set consumer that accepts the handler. This is a pre-flight function, so there's no in-flight modifier, and it accepts a handler that basically send a message. You need an SDR, right?
Yeah.
And the group ID maybe. Yeah.
Let's leave the
okay.
Group ID.
Awesome. Great.
No.
So no message here. Yeah, exactly. Just the signature.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
So now let's
implement this.
Implement it. Right?
Yeah.
Let's implement for AWS. Then
right.
Let's see if we can implement it for us.
Right.
But so
can you get rid of the command line? I'll do this for you, man. Let me do this. We don't need this, and we don't need this for now. Oh, sorry. Great.
Okay. So pub class FIFOQ
underscore AWS. So this is the convention that we have.
Right.
Because there's no.
And let's say.
So we need a new function.
Right. So this AWS is actually the Terraform AWS, right?
Right.
So we need the CD.
So maybe you should do TF AWS and not AWS actually. Underscore TF AWS.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah.
So what we need to do is actually bring the AWS provider.
Right.
CDK.
The CDK TF provider.
And I'm not sure how to bring it. So maybe I can.
You can just copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know how to bring stuff, we copy it.
Okay. Let's say
you don't need the CDK lib. This is WebSocket is you can
Yeah.
take something like awesome. Great.
let's install it.
Okay, great.
And now we can do something like we can bring it, right?
Yeah, bringing
what do you call it?
CDKTF. Yeah. Probably not AWS. You're going to use AWS for something else for Marcia's one, right? Oh, it's okay.
What?
Oh, it's okay.
You mean the utils?
Yeah, the AWS utils. Okay, right. So we're using AWS. We're looking for an SQSQ. So we're basically instantiating an SQSQ. But one of the configs for SQSQ is FIFO, right? It's,
exactly.
Yeah.
There's a FIFO. Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
So there's FIFO. You need to reach over. And then another thing that's special to AWS is that they have this kind of idea of deduplication.
Right. So I've seen Christian mentioning this. What's that means? That you're not going to get
Yeah, they basically it's like a way to not
make everything even more expensive.
I think
right?
it's like connected to that exactly once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so if we do that, that means the messaging ID is based on the actual message.
Okay, awesome.
And that's going to be our queue.
Right.
And now
do we need to do another thing?
Thinking about yeah. Okay.
You're already thinking about the ARN and the queue URL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So let's do the set consumer.
Right. You need to add the pub here. Pub set consumer.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Great.
also right.
Implement FIFO-Q. That's going to be shouting at us because you didn't implement the pub inflat pub push. Awesome. Great. Now it's not shouting at us anymore.
Yeah. And now we need to.
Do you mind getting the left side away?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
And now we need to kind of create the handler, right? We need to create a Lambda function.
Right. So we need to basically create a Lambda function that will take this in-flight handler, the closure, and run it.
Actually, for the Lambda function, we can use the cloud construct.
Right. So you could have created an AWS specific function, but it's easier to create a new cloud function, and you know that within this target, the dependency injection mechanism or the platform mechanism will give you the actual AWS function.
Right.
Yep.
And okay, then this Lambda function needs a bunch of permissions to fetch stuff from the queue and stuff like that. So I'm going to
exactly the stuff that Wing does for you.
Right.
You have to do this by yourself. So you're copying it from Wing. You're going into the Wing and you're looking at the queue, and you're going to copy all those stuff.
Set consumer. We're going to copy.
Here it is.
Yeah.
And this, okay, so what you're doing here, you're basically giving that Lambda function, you need to cast it into an AWS function, right?
Yeah, that's what you talked about earlier.
Right. Yeah, AWS utils, right? As AWS utils.
Yeah?
I think.
Oh, yeah, because of that. Okay. And now we kind of need to,
FN. Okay.
AWS util.
Dot function. This is a nice helper function that is it function and then it accepts a Lambda? Yeah?
No, it's a
function from Lambda. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So now we have this function, that policy statement on.
Yeah, and then we have to give them the queue arm. So let's be honest. The first time you did it, you didn't pass the queue arm. You did this .q, and you basically created when you first implemented this, you created a member with the queue. But now you're basically just saving the ARN as a member of this class and not the queue. That's because there's a lifting bug. Lifting is a mechanism that takes kind of pre-flight class or an instance of a pre-flight and lifts it into in-flight, and creates an in-flight client out of it. And it didn't capture the ARN correctly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we both knew what the problem is because I don't remember the bug. If someone can find that bug about lifting, that would be great to post it here.
Not sure what this one is taking. I think it's function.
So this is the event source. Basically, when you're getting
this is the thing that connects the.
Yeah. So when you're getting a message into the queue, this will trigger that function with this queue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's function, and then it's.
You need the IRN again.
With the lambda name. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The function name. And then the ARN.
There's something with the completion too aggressive, right? Or maybe because we're on a big
Yeah, I think
font.
it's only when the size of the window
Yeah, the size of the
It's,
window and the font.
makes it insane.
So function is not a field in Lambda. So it's not function. What was it?
Functional.
Great.
Okay.
Strongly types. If we were in Java right now, JavaScript, we would think, this is great, everything is working. Oh my God.
World of pain.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So that's the set consumer right? We created the function and handler, cloud function. Then we can just like trigger. We're going to trigger it for every function. For every queue message.
Right.
And so now let's push it to the queue.
Right.
And we need the AWS SDK for that, right? Because
right. We need the AWS.
We can do it directly from Inget.
Right. So when we're using the inflight function, I mean, basically when we're doing stuff in preflight, we need the CDK in order to provision stuff, kind of CDKTF in this example. But when we're when we're writing in-flight function, we usually need the AWS SDK to interact with the runtime API of AWS runtime API of the AWS resource. The runtime API of the AWS resource. So you have in fact
it's not client queue.
It's not client queue. Client SQS. I'm assuming. Queue is doesn't make sense.
It's what we want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. This is the fact that it's not client queue is the reason that we are here. Yeah. Okay. Get close some. Get me some more space. You're killing me here. Okay.
And
let's try this thing. No.
So we're gonna need the next one, right? Next one to do a JavaScript call.
Yeah.
Let's call it the file AWS.js. Then doesn't need to be public. In flight.
Right, doesn't need to be public. Static.
Static. Let's underscore push.
Right.
And then it needs the queue URL you have to pass it.
Okay. So
which is a string, the message,
and the ID, right?
And then group ID.
Group ID. Okay.
And then you complain that the file doesn't exist yet.
Right. So we create this. You can create this with a click.
What do you mean?
I mean, you could have just clicked on the external and just go to file. It would automatically create your file.
What?
Delete the AWS.js file.
Yeah, it just okay. Really?
Yeah, sure. Check it out and delete the AWS file.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, just click on it. Create file.
Amazing.
Courtesy of Mark and VS Code together. They teamed up together to make this happen.
So I don't know what we need here, but we require the AWS SDK, right?
Right.
Right. And we need, what do we need?
You need to copy paste from queue in flight in Wing. That's what you need. I think so, right?
Send message.
Yeah, I mean, you need to create.
No, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be okay.
Okay. I know those things. I don't know those things. Okay.
Then we're gonna export a function that need to be called
underscore push.
Right. Push.
It's an ASIC function, right?
Yeah. Doesn't have to be, but yeah.
It doesn't matter.
What?
Async function. That's it. You just need to create a function, right? It takes three. You don't need const. You need. It takes three parameters. The first one is string queue URL. The second one is message. The third one is QID. Yep. String.
And we can do a new SQS client.
Great.
And then client send.
You need to give it a message, right? New SQS and message command.
Now I'm not sure what we need. A message? Who knows?
What do you know the API here?
No, let's copy it again.
Okay. So now we're going to Wing. And now we're going to Wing with Matthew's common JS stuff. But
Okay, need the QRL message body.
it's a good question. I think we do work in with ESM, but only in in-flight, so it's better to go with require for us, right? I mean,
But what are you talking about?
the require versus import. Matthew is mentioning.
I think basically it can work. I think there's a bug here.
Yeah.
Basically, it can work with module files, right?
Yeah.
You can do import. We use it in a bunch of projects,
Right.
and it works. But I think there's a specific problem with the wing libs that it doesn't pack your.
Oh, really?
Your,
Interesting.
if you don't call it I think JavaScript, then it will doesn't pack it.
Yeah, the MJS will not pack it.
Yeah, then
Yeah. So this is a good question from Matthew. So I hope we give you an answer. There's a bug, you can fix it, Matthew. We need your help. That's the answer. And now we have the group ID. Awesome.
Right.
Great.
And that's it.
That's
here.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just
Okay.
send in a message. And here we're gonna just call it with the Q. Okay, we need the QRL. We need to save
Okay.
it.
So again, we're saving the QURL on the member of the class, the pre-flight member of the class, and this will be lifted. And, awesome. This URL. No, just URL. Search and group.
And
Option dot group ID. Exactly. Awesome.
all right.
Great. This is it, basically, right? I mean,
And this is it. No, it's not. It's not it. But
it's not it.
no, the thing is, Cloud Function expects.
Oh, I know what's missing.
Yeah, basically we can't have a string because when AWS invokes your Lambda, it doesn't pass you a string, right? It passes you a JSON.
Right.
And JSON has a bunch of records,
Right.
which records are basically your messages, and then each record has a message.
Right. So basically, kind of the way we're doing this is thinking that the API sends you a string, but it doesn't. The API sends you a JSON object with records. Awesome.
So let's create a struct that will hold us our
Interesting.
data, right?
So yeah, it's going to be a record with a capital I.
Yeah, capital R, yeah.
And which includes a record, right?
Yeah.
SQS record.
So we only need I think it's called the body so.
Okay, body, string.
And then we have records, bunch of
Array of records.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, makes sense. And the reason you're doing this because you don't want to parse the JSON, go over the JSON. You want to basically you want to take, right? You want to use the system ability to kind of parse and verify. Yeah.
So what happens now? I have to pass it a string because Cloud Function only accepts if I try to pass it JSON.
Yeah, right.
It's going to go plain.
Right.
That it's not a string. So I'm going to pass a string. Actually, in real time, it's going to be JSON.
Right.
So I'm going to unsafe cast it.
Oh, interesting.
The great unsafe cast.
Okay, I understand. The great unsafe cast.
Yeah. And that's going to be a JSON.
Okay.
And we're going to tell it. We're going to tell the compiler which is JSON.
Awesome.
And then we can do SQS event from JSON.
Awesome.
JSON.
No, JSON. Right.
And then I think we can just iterate over the records.
Right. For R in. Okay. Record. Wow. In records. It's a capital R.
And then
we can call the handler, right?
Yeah. For record body.
Awesome. Okay, so what we've done here, we've created kind of a proxy to the actual function, and the proxy basically takes the unstructured, it's not a string, the JSON, actually the structured information, parse it, or basically unsafe cast it even, not even parse it, and then turn it into a record struct, and then call the actual handler function. Awesome. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to write a test for this?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, so let's write a test.
Obviously, we're going to write tests. And yeah, it's even like we already have the test file, right?
Right.
And then we just need to created.
Right. So
So this is our queue.
yep.
And let's say the test is that we want to make sure that two messages of the same with the same group ID are treated serialized, right?
Right. Right.
So let's do it. Serialize.
By the way, Matthew is mentioning that he only writes bugs. He doesn't fix them. We also need people like this, Matthew. We're glad that you're here. God knows that I'm one of those. Okay.
Serialize the consume messages with the same group ID.
Awesome.
I don't think we can rewrite it serialize the.
This is
that,
if this is there's no I mean
nobody say.
no there's no I mean you can't expect serialized to be like this.
No.
Yeah.
So let's push the queue. Let's push message 1 with group ID
One.
1. Okay. And then let's push message 2 with the same group ID.
Right.
And wait, let's consume it. But
Yeah.
we also want to consume
So we want to consume this. We want to create queue, set consumer, and we want to do we want to sleep there, right? We want to do util, bring util, right?
What
Do you want to sleep here? I mean,
Yeah,
so
okay,
you need to do bring util. Basically, we're going to sleep doing those things, and we'll make sure that when we're sending two messages with the same group ID, the code finishes only when the two sleeping time is there. So let's do util sleep.
Right. So
10 seconds.
we're kind of mimicking a long jump, right? So we're gonna
Right.
jump that take 10 seconds, and
Right.
we want to see that after 10 seconds, or maybe a little more.
Right.
Okay,
a little more because of the cold starts.
Yeah. Let's set a counter.
Yeah. So we want to see that after 10 seconds, kind of there was only one counter. This thing only went once. And after 20 seconds, let's do 15 and 25 seconds. This is this has run twice. So we want to do to ourselves. So we want to do let's sleep for 15 seconds, and then we'll do expect
equal
counter dot peak 1. Great. And then let's sleep another 15 seconds. Even 10 seconds would be okay, but we want to expect this to be true.
Exactly.
This is not the best test because it's going to take 30 seconds to run, but we want to run this test, but we can run this locally because we haven't implemented the local simulator.
No.
We're not going to do this because it was my task and we don't have enough time.
No.
But let's run this on TF AWS.
So we're going to do wing tests with the TF AWS platform, and then leap test, right?
Yeah. Do you mind doing Control L, Control L? Okay, great.
Let's see what happens.
So this will compile this to TF AWS. Hopefully it's going to work. If it's not going to work, we don't have time to fix it, by the way. But hopefully it's going to work. And that's going to be amazing if it's going to work. Because it usually those things doesn't work from the first time and you have to fix the permissions. But maybe we copy-pasted enough. And it's going to do Terraform apply and run this test. If the test is going to work, we're just going to say.
By the way, another interesting thing is that we implemented this queue with SQS, right? Which is kind of
right.
It's one way to do it. I didn't know it, but another Christian, another member of our team.
Okay.
It's in the PR, but he implemented a FIFI with DynamoDB streams.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, so you can use DynamoDB for a queue like you can use Redis for a queue.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting.
So if you're already using DynamoDB, so you just use that queue, and this one can be for other platforms that doesn't have DynamoDB.
Nice. Interesting.
Okay, the queue visibility timeout is less than the function.
Yeah. So it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Right, because we didn't add the queue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's not seconds.
No, it's 120.
Okay, we don't have to wait again. But
yeah. Let's wait.
almost.
Almost. Will we wait? Will we wait? I think let's wait. I think if it's going to work, we're not going to wait more than one time. So this is interesting because you created a FIFO queue, but basically there's two options here: DynamoDB FIFO queue or an SQS FIFO queue, which kind of raises kind of a question of what is the right name for this. It's because I mean
It doesn't tell you the implementation.
Yeah, we need a better way for. You immediately think about annotations, right? I mean, I want to provide an annotation for that TF AWS provider to implement this with SQS, or the TF AWS provider implement this with DynamoDB. It's both. I mean,
right.
So in the platform feels like, and I wouldn't write a policy right now to implement this. It's too hard. It feels like we need an easier way to give people the options to choose. So I don't know what that easy way, but we have to look for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if it's annotation, but
yeah.
I mean, you can easily do it with a platform, right? With a custom platform. That's
right, but we need an easy way to do it with the platform. Resolve iFIFO queue with SQS queue, or so it didn't work again.
Oh, okay. I know. We forgot an important part actually.
What?
We forgot to give permissions to
on lift. We didn't do the on lift.
Yeah. It's very important.
Yeah. So what happened is basically we didn't give the on lift part is giving the it's actually super important. On lift is a mechanism because we need to that function. The compiler needs to give information to the platform. In this example, TF AWS. A way to say that this function needs to be able to invoke. Right now we gave permissions. Actually, what's missing? Explain to me what's missing here on the lift. Why do we need
the test function doesn't have the send message.
Oh, the test function is calling queue push.
Yeah.
Okay, this is super interesting. So the test function is calling queue push. Now, we as the producers of the push of the queue resource, we don't know who's going to use this. I mean, it's by definition we don't know who's going to use this. But the compiler gives us an option. Can you zoom in on this function? Give us an option to implement the on lift that says if a host, in this example, it's usually a Lambda function right now, but it can be it can also be a container. I mean, a workload, a pod. Right. So or Fargate ECS or something like that. So if this function is basically asking permission, what should it do? The function doesn't know what permission it is required, but I know that in order to basically, if you come with the op of push and you didn't do the statement,
we didn't check it.
You didn't check it, but you already know. If your comes with the open push, I'll give you SQS send message permission on myself. That's super important, and I'm glad we came across this. I think that we will have to probably not go through the entire Revital Good First Issue part, but I think this is super important.
Yeah, the solution is really cool, right?
Yeah,
because
so the only
we are controlling who gets what, like based on what operation, who gets which permission.
Right. It's kind of there's a passing of this responsibility. I don't know how to give you the permission, but I know who knows. So the compiler gives this to the queue. And the queue says, I don't know who this guy, but I have the kind of the interface to end this. And now the tests are running because the test is able to do queue push. Awesome. So now we need to wait about 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, 30 seconds at least.
At least, yeah. Now we need to fix the test so it won't be 30 seconds, but the problem is that we have cold starts, which kind of, it's very hard to write tests with when you have cold starts. It's you have to do busy wait. In this example, you have to do busy wait. I mean, it's quite complicated to do this test without waiting a lot for nothing. But the test passes. So we have consume message with the same group ID. It passes. And great job, Elad. Say thank you or something.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here.
No, this was awesome. This was awesome. This was very educating for me, and I hope for our viewers. And thank you for doing this. And I'm glad we're back in the same team together. Felt lonely without you, and I have a feeling it's gonna be fun. So the next thing on our show, let me take this. Move this, get us here. So the next part of our show is let me just turn this on. Sorry, is our changelog. But before we go into the changelog, I want to hear a song. So again, from our famous Mark the DJ by Dave Lemond, "You Tear Me Apart." Thank you a lot. See you on the other side. Hey, Mark.
Hi.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm back.
You're back, man. You're back. He's back. So, what did you think about the first part, Mark?
I think it's I think that repo is going to get very busy.
Very
with
busy.
Because we've been keeping a pretty tight hold on the Wing SDK to make sure. Sorry, this light is very distracting.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
How bad it is.
It's okay.
It's distracting me when I look over at the camera, but I'll try not to do that. So we keep a tight hold on the SDK to we're working on our abstractions, and then we kind of had this EX namespace where we put some extra stuff.
Right.
But now the dam has broken open, and we're like, okay, now we want to make some cool stuff.
Right.
Like the cool things and the useful things. So
let's
excited
experiment
for
a little bit, right?
What's that?
Let's experiment a little bit. What can we build? I created a lock. I don't know. I created a lock.
Sure.
I have a lock. I mean, it's crazy, and it's gonna get busy. It's gonna get busy, and it's not that hard. I think it took us 40 minutes right now or 30 minutes, but it did take us pretty much the same time when we did this by ourselves, which is crazy. And in the middle, I did the simulator queue, which took me this pretty much kind of 15 minutes. And we have a FIFO queue, which is crazy, that is supported both on the simulator on TF-AWS. So it's going to be interesting to see what people build from it.
It's important dogfooding because there's still some things missing to make that experience easier. We talked today a few hours ago about multi-platform, like implementing multiple platforms and implementing an abstract resource, which currently there is a workaround way to do, but we want to make that more formal. And I think there's also some difficulties around implementing local simulator implementations. I mean, you guys just brought it up that's why you didn't implement the local version first. And I've seen some other struggles around there's maybe some missing primitives when it comes to implementing a local simulation for certain types of resources.
Yeah, there's a combination of bugs that I mean, I've seen the WebSocket, for example, the implementation of WebSocket, and there's a combination of bugs and missing tools like APIs. A lot added the state API, the token resolution state, which closed the huge gap. But we still have some bugs that kind of prevent you from having a very good experience. And also on the AWS side, it's the testing part, the fact that you have to go through the entire cycle of provisioning this, destroying this, running the test. It takes ages. I don't know who can write software like this. I don't have the...
and that's a problem that exists outside of Wing completely. I mean, and that's
so
what we're poised to solve it. We're poised
it's us. It's us.
We're working on it. It's us. Not yet, but it will be.
That's why the bigger this repo will be, the easier it will be to write software.
Yeah. But there is a question of quality. Can it get bigger and maintain good quality?
I mean, it's still like how do you call it? A trusted library, trusted libraries.
Yeah,
Still something that has a minimum kind of
right. I kind of feel that we need to lose the trusted one. It's basically we're lowering down the minimum, the bare minimum. I think that basically kind of popularity will determine what should be trusted at the beginning, because it's so easy to edit. Again, I don't need to do anything but create the pull request, and I have an npm package inside Winglang, which is very, very easy for me. I mean, I don't have an npm. I'm a product guy. I don't have an npm setup account. I don't know how to publish stuff to npm. I don't want to create tokens. It's so easy, but I can commit code. So I think the problem of quality is going to happen, and I want to embrace it.
Yeah, I don't think we moved pretty fast on this because we wanted to unlock more use cases, and it came right after we supported the the concept of a library working. So we made sure we did that quickly, but there's still more work to do. We have the benefit of a community that is growing but not humongous,
right?
Which makes quality work. So we have some time. We have some time to harden and find somewhere in between, like a super insular, closed off ecosystem and an npm. We can find our balance in between. So
I agree.
Us doing that.
I agree. We should stop before it will become a place to create left pads. That's somewhere before that. We should say, you know what, we have a problem.
But part of quality is security, which I think that's why the word trusted is in there. Not just because it's good, but because we're not going to let people execute bad code on your computer when you're compiling.
I love this distinction, Mark. It's an important distinction. So the trusted means that you can trust this code not to be malicious. We know the guy. I mean, we know Marcio. We talk to it's not malicious code. This is something that is part of trusted, and we also review it, so we know there's no injection there. It's not just the quality. I love this distinction.
This is the App Store of Wing.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah, and we still will allow untrusted things. That's as long as that stays the case. I was concerned about trusted, but I'm pretty bought into the idea. So yeah.
I was bought in only when I went through this no process stuff. I thought
it should get easier. Right now, I still think it's pretty hard compared to how it could be.
mklib and pull request.
But maintenance.
Okay.
Maintenance is still something to worry about. We don't really have much tooling and process around. It's still there's still some barriers to lower, but you're right. It's probably as easy as it could be with how how much work has been put in, which is
So when you're saying maintenance, you're saying Wing is still breaking. There's no tools to basically kind of upgrade between Wing versions, like what was it? Swift used to do it, which was cool. Gave you an option to move because there was a lot of big changes. Other stuff about maintenance?
Well, as it gets bigger, we need to be able to scale everything that we're doing now.
Yeah.
So there'll be some problems, but we're fine. We're fine right now.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mark, you're not here just to talk about the last session, although this was interesting. You're here to talk about what we have new in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I was against this, but we wanted to try to take your role. Thank God he didn't do a good job, and now we have you.
I know he did great.
No, he did great.
I watched.
Did you watch it? Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also watched when Shai did my stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll speak for our own replacements, and I was fine with mine.
Yeah, so I'll take the fifth.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Awesome.
All right, so let's do it. Let's do changelog. So this changelog is a little light. and I partially because there was reInvent happening, so a lot of people from our team were involved in that. We also had some vacation time from people working on the team, so it was a lighter time for changes. Contributors still going. You call that Shai's concerned.
Yeah. Shai wants us to take. I mean, also let's take shortcuts. It's not bad to take shortcuts. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, it's lighter time, but let's go through it. And one thing I will start with is speaking of winglibs, let's talk about one of the the most recent live winglib, which is WebSockets.
Awesome.
So with this resource created by Marcio, you know him and you love him from contributing to Wing. You can now it'll now be able to provision a server. It works in SIM and AWS. I'll say, I guess, both in TF AWS and AWS CDK.
Right.
And you'll be able to make a WebSocket server. And I have a couple of slides for showing it, but so you can make it. A common use case that you'll have with WebSocket servers is a way to keep track of connections. So here's an example of okay, I'll make a DynamoDB table to keep track of connection IDs, and then we have a few hooks where you can say, okay, on connect, you can do something with the connection ID that gets generated and pass along from the client. And you can store that, or if the client disconnects, you can then remove that that connection ID from your table. And then the big one, which is when the WebSocket server receives a message, what can it do with it? And this will go through all the existing connections and kind of just relay the message to all the connected clients to the server. This is just I stole his example from
that was his example. Basically, it's a broadcasting system, right?
Yeah, I mean that's one pretty big use case of WebSockets is since it's bidirectional communication. The client can send to the server, and the server can bounce it all over the place.
Does it? Okay. Send message. Is it STR? STR from JSON. Okay. STR dot from JSON. Okay.
Yeah. So it's supposed to send a string, but because this is a JSON, we want to convert it to casting.
Right.
Just casting it.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you for that. I put it he posted about this in the general chat, I believe, or somewhere. And I made the comment that I'm excited to see a game because WebSockets are like a multiplayer game specifically. Because in my mind, obviously there are more businessy use cases for WebSockets, but I'm thinking games. I remember that a long time ago, Wing wasn't even a thing yet, but we were working on it, and I made a little like a kind of like a dice game, and I was like, oh, this could be multiplayer. When Wing has a way to do multiplayer stuff easily, I want to remake that game, and I think now is the time.
Now is the time, man.
Now is the time to make a little cute little multiplayer.
Nice.
Thing. So
yeah,
hopefully someone beats me to it because it's going to take me 20 years probably to get to it.
What's his name? I can't remember one of our contributors, one of the Wingnuts. He created a small game with dots. He implemented the WebSocket locally, and he created the small games of dots chasing each other. Florian.
Oh yeah.
So someone beat you to it already, but not using Marcio WebSocket. Okay, so
there you go. Then that'll make it official.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the nice thing about this, I can see this evolves and goes inside the API, right? I mean, this is a capability of an API gateway in some cases, maybe not. So it's going to be interesting to take this eventually and put this inside Wing Cloud, whether it's going to be cloud with a WebSocket or functionality on top of the API. I'm interested in finding out how these things evolve.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll get back to more Wing-focused changes directly.
Awesome.
Let's talk about the console. So there was a sequence of PRs, I think, that were just put in from Christian to do some cleanup with the lines. I feel bad. I probably should have put a more complicated example, but I wanted you'll still see more clearly what happens with the change. So this is a before picture. And with I think it was about 3 or 4 changes, 3 or 4 PRs. it now
Okay.
looks like this. I'll flip back and forth so you can see the change.
Okay.
The main change is that
Ooh.
parent nodes now there's no like line shown to represent the relationship between a parent and child. Because it's kind of, I don't know, is that useful? Is it useful to see that? Like, I mean, it already has the hierarchical relationship, so showing that line isn't really giving you much, and it's just adding to the noise. Which, again, if I had more things here, you probably would have noticed it being much worse.
Right. Yep.
And then there was a change to let me flip back to the thing for this to be a solid line instead of a dotted line. I believe this was mostly a performance change.
Really?
I believe so, and maybe Alad can actually speak to some of this if you'd like.
That's what he mentioned.
A performance change between the dotted line and the solid line?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, again, at scale. Of course, the one you probably won't notice a difference with one, but with the thousands of lines, I think it starts to make a difference.
A dotted line is more performant than a solid line?
A solid line is more performant.
No, you moved from...
Oh, sorry. This is after. I probably should have put labels on the screen.
Okay,
this is after.
Okay. Okay, so you didn't show the before, I think. Okay, this is...
Before?
This makes a lot of sense.
After.
Okay, I'm good.
No, it's my fault for not putting labels. The thing with less lines on it is after. We're going... Every change we make from this point is probably going towards less lines.
I mean, again, for me, the fact that the dotted line is less performant than the solid line makes a lot of sense. I don't know why, but it makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it looks small, but there's definitely this adds up. Things like that add up.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of talk right now from the console team about how this looks at scale.
Yep.
The wing cloud is itself a wing application.
Right.
And it's at scale. I'm presumably the biggest wing application that exists right now.
Right. It is the biggest wing application. And that is part of the team that is writing the biggest application in history, a wing application in history. And we should say it out loud. The console doesn't work at scale. We need to fix it. If you're developing a wing application at the scale of Wing Cloud, we know that the console is not helpful. And that's the reality right now. And we have to fix it, but we have to also make it much better for small scale application, because that's where people are going to start. So I mean, we have to balance those two concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
So that's it for that.
Great.
And next up is hold on. Sorry.
Oh,
1 second.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, .env file. So this is probably, if you're in the JS or TS ecosystem, you'll be used to lights hitting me in the face now too. That you'll be used to seeing these files, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. If you often use environment variables in your application to control various, whatever. It's like a given in a lot of cases that you'll want to make use of these. So for Wing, the main place where you're going to use it is in pre-flight.
Right.
So being able to access environment variables in pre-flight, because you can set that from the CLI or like from your wherever you're running the compile from.
Right.
You can just.
If you have to use this correctly, if you have to use it in in-flight, it means you have to store it in a pre-flight variable and make it and access it from in-flight, and then it's lifted, right? I have to use okay.
Yeah, we try to. So the process of bringing environment variables to in-flight is intentionally explicit, because we don't want to automatically bring environment variables, because then it might be bringing sensitive information.
Exactly.
And that goes into your like Terraform state file, or I mean, actually worse, it goes into your like JavaScript generated Terraform.
Yeah.
Like, and it becomes like it goes in your AWS console.
Right.
And it becomes like a plain text value. You give it a like so the way you map things that could be sensitive, that's something we're actively working on, but just as a bare minimum, it's all explicit.
Yep.
So yeah, it does work now. If you have it in your directory and you run, it'll pick up a .env file, and it also works with the more advanced use cases. I put here like You can interpolate values in your env file, and we also support like if you want to have different variables for wing test versus wing compile,
Yeah,
you
that
can
makes a lot of
load different files.
that makes a lot of sense. I really like this feature. I mean, I'm already kind of using Wing to understand if you're running a test or not. It's kind of I don't know how to do it. Wing target doesn't give you this information. I think there's another option to know it, but this is really nice, really nice. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thank you to Gary. Who I mentioned it a lot, but the he doesn't choose this icon. I'm still requesting him to change this. I want this to be his icon in GitHub. I would like him to make this his new icon.
Yeah, this will turn into his icon in GitHub. Did you send him a good quality image of this file?
Oh, I haven't. I mean, you can pick a different one. Go SpongeBob, Gary the Snail. Yeah, pick whatever is your favorite, Gary.
No. Give him. I mean, you should tell him, pick any one of you that's your favorite. But this is the one I'm using right now, and send him the photo.
Fair. Yeah, okay. This is him. This is him now.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, I considered putting a picture of like GCP on the slide, but hopefully the impact of this gets across so that Suf is continuing on her journey of works locally, works everywhere, and nice. I forget the term that we have for cloud
guarantee
coverage.
What?
Yeah, cloud coverage.
Oh, cloud
coverage.
Awesome. Yep.
So she's continuing her journey there, and she added so now you can run wing tests with TFGCP target. Doing that required actually implementing the cloud function,
right?
Which is on its own already a big deal.
Right.
It's a pretty core resource to have working for your target, so that works. Right. And in addition, in the same PR, she got wing tests working.
It's not just the cloud function. I learned this when Hassan implemented Azure. It's the cloud function and the ability to understand how do I pack the file and upload this. In AWS, it's basically using S3 buckets to store this on an archive file, and all this mechanism. And that mechanism basically unlocks a lot, the ability to run tests, and then any other stuff we can just test. Right?
Yeah, it's arguably the most complicated one, other than maybe cloud service. The most complicated one of our cloud library.
Yep.
The workload. A lot of kudos for getting that working. And now you can use it. So now with that change, now you can all of the major 3 clouds, you can run functions and run tests in all 3 of them now.
Awesome.
So pretty huge deal.
Yep. Thank you, Toof.
Thank you. And that's it.
That's it. Awesome.
That's it.
That was it, as they say. Let's see if I have any. Okay. So, Mark, thank you for having this again and again. I think you're doing an excellent job. Thank you for choosing the songs. There's some messages here about Amped. I think Amped is doing an excellent job. I'm actually looking at them right now. I mean, they made a lot of decisions, about the APIs, and I think that's important. But I understand what's how do you say this, Mark? Bronifty?
Oh, Bronifty? I assume?
Yep, Bronifty. Yep. I understand what Bronifty is saying. Yep. Brother Nifty. Awesome. Brother Nifty. Thanks, bro. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's
I think you're talking about Amped not being like a portable solution. They try to be like a
right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I can see them implementing this in Azure as well. It's just a matter of they have their interface with their APIs. It's just a matter of implementing the same API. I think that the main difference is the open ecosystem here, and also the language, of course, and the responsibility of permissions. But I think you can implement the entire AMP entity interface stack in the different clouds. It's just a matter of priority, I'm assuming.
I think most tools in this space are going have a similar direction where they try to close off as much as is reasonable, and it's not a bad choice. It does
Right.
mean that you maintain strengths in a lot of good areas.
Right.
So it's not a bad thing at all.
Right. I would say that in the end it's not scalable. I mean, it's the world is.
Depends what you mean. It depends what you mean, and
I mean,
depends who you're
scalable
talking
with
to.
the use cases of if someone is taking this tool and he wants to build a company that will be a $1 billion company. I mean, it goes to an IPO. It's you have to have the ecosystem that you build your technology has to be open. There has to be open ecosystem. You have to be able to create plugins. You have to be able to customize stuff, and that's what I mean. That's my. Does that make sense to you or not? I mean.
It does. I mean, I think most frameworks / tools have something for that. The equivalent of escape hatches and such.
Right. Correct.
How good it feels to use those is definitely varies. And
right.
So yeah,
right.
It's a whole other dimension along which you have to work on and innovate.
Right.
So, I don't envy people that have to do that, because it's one of the hardest parts of building abstractions and tools is where do you expose the knobs and the back panel that you can unscrew and take off the case and look at it's a huge thing, huge challenge.
Right. And I have to say, I always say this, but this is still, I mean, we haven't proven this in Wing. It's not that this is proven in Wing. We have an hypothesis, an assumption that this is the way to do it, but time will tell. Because, I mean, only time and basically kind of more application being written and more complex stuff being written will tell. Of course, a lot of application in Wing will not be portable, right? It might have the mechanism to become portable, but it doesn't make them more portable. Yeah. Mark, thank you for this interesting talk. And due to time, we're not going to have the good first issue with Revital. I'm sorry, Revital. I know you were expecting this, but we'll have to do this next time. It was super interesting. A lot. Thank you for the code, the C4Q, and thank you for the rundown on what has changed and your acumen and wisdom, Mark. And again, we're gonna hear Dev Leon to tell me apart, and then we're gonna leave you. So thank you for the viewers, and see you in 2 weeks. And if I don't, Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.